My name is Karl Meneghella, and I'm here today at Priya Sihimonaraja Buddhist University in Phnom Penh, Cambodia. And with me is Mr. David D. Perrodin. Morning, David. How are you?
All right, great.
David has had a lot of experience with academic journals. He's developed academic journals, and today he's going to share some of his insights in how you'd start a journal. So if PSBU were going to start a journal, what would be a sort of a timeline of expectation, and more importantly, what it is to get a journal so it's recognized and becomes an authoritative journal with Scopus, for example. So David, you've got experience building journals, starting journals.
Yes.
And what would be a hypothetical, how would you start?
Well, you need to find a topic that people are interested in publishing, sure. And you need to find a group of people who are interested in publishing. So topics and authors.
So if we assume we have the people interested, like say a university, for example, I know that the title of the journal will actually be almost like a fishing net to get people in for contributions, for articles, for example.
Right.
So how important is that? Like the topic or the title of a journal?
Okay, sure. Well, as most of us know, there are thousands of academic journals out there, right? And the successful academic journals, what I mean by successful is those who have numerous submissions and those who contribute new knowledge to the knowledge base. Those successful journals, they produce quality publications, right? So if we want to be successful in having a journal here, let's say, right? We need to find topics that people are interested in publishing and topics that fall under the umbrella of the university.
Yes.
So, as long as the topics align with the purpose of the university, you're fine.
Right.
Sure.
How difficult would it be for a journal to get wide readership if it's in, say, for example, in Khmer versus if it's in English?
Oh, well, I want to pre-apologize for this answer, okay? As we know, I'm talking about researchers, as we know, nearly 90% or most of the world's knowledge, the academic knowledge, is written in English, okay?
Yes,
Sorry, that's just how it is,
a fact
right?
of life, yes.
Yeah, that's a fact of life. And if you write a journal in another language, especially in a language where only 0.045% of the world's population can read, then your readership will be significantly less.
So it really needs to be in English.
Yeah,
okay,
sure.
And I've heard about Scopus rankings. Now,
Right.
Could you please explain a little bit about Scopus rankings and what they are?
Okay. Well, there are indexes, okay? Indexes are lists of journals. Like I work in Thailand. Thailand has a TCI, the Thailand Citation Index. And Scopus is just that. It is an index, or it is a group of journals. And to be part or to be included within this index or this group of journals, you must reach a particular standard set by that index. And you mentioned Scopus. In academe, Scopus is probably the most widely recognized index.
And the reason that's important is for a student, say a PhD student or a master's student, to be published, they often have to be published in a reputable journal.
Right, sure.
So Scopus is one of the indexes which affords it the reputation, so it becomes reputable.
Right.
Okay, so again, to get a good ranking in these indexes, there's a whole back-end crew to build a journal. So you have editors, you have reviewers. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
There are certain indexes that are national indexes, like
so like the Thai one,
sure,
for example?
like TCI, Thailand Citation Index, ICI. There's even an Indonesian Citation Index, or there is even an Asian Citation Index. Okay, so these are national or regional indexes. To establish a journal of that nature, it takes considerable work. Okay, but it's well known that oftentimes the standard or the quality of the submissions to those journals may not be the best for an international readership, okay? So Scopus and other indexes comparable to Scopus have an expected quality level, okay? So if you are able to publish in a Scopus index journal, let's say a journal that ranks in the lower quartile. Quartile just means the lower 25%, right? If you're able to publish in that level of journal, a quartile 4 or a Q4, that's just a little bit above a national level, right? And then of course you have Q4, 3, 2, and Q1. A journal that ranks in the Q1,
it's a world-class journal.
Yes, it's a world-class journal. Absolutely. So you must be an amazing author to be able to publish in a Q1 journal.
So just to give like a very brief overview, you have a back-end staff.
Yes.
And you have obviously your reviewers, you have editors, and they're looking at screening the articles.
Right.
Do they give help to authors who have submitted articles?
Okay. Yes and no.
Let's go with the yes first.
Okay. Well, there are some journals. I would not mention them by name, but they are called author-friendly journals. That if you submit a manuscript or an article, and if it's not able to be reviewed, okay, such as maybe if the language may not be the best, okay, or there are some,
or the topic is obscure,
right, or there are some other issues, then that journal will connect you with an editor of that journal, and that particular editor will help you develop that article further, okay? Yes. Then you have journals that if you even have minor language errors or something even simple, they will immediately reject that article because they only want the best.
And the other problem, I believe, is that with the journals, students need to get published as their PhD, for example. And I think that they want to be published, but they have to understand that the work they're submitting has to be of a standard to get it published, because it's not just publishing in a journal. It has to be published in a journal that has index ranking.
Right.
So you finish your PhD, for example, your dissertation or your thesis, and you're looking for a journal, it has to be of that ranking. It has to be a journal which has got quality, which in turn means that your research from the very beginning needs to be quality. You need to have quality work that you're submitting. What would you say it would take, in your experience, for a university starting out with a journal to getting to an index, even just a national index, as far as a timeline? So let's say you have the back-end staff, we have motivated staff. What would be your expectation?
Okay, well, you mentioned a couple of times the back-end staff. I wanted you to have a little more understanding before I mention exactly what is a back-end staff. The back-end staff...
I meant behind the scenes.
Yeah, yes, sure, yes. Of course, yeah. For a journal to become just even indexed in a national database, you have, my goodness, numerous people from support staff, coordinators, editors, copy editors, my goodness, social media people. You have a whole team to put together before that journal even receives simple ranking.
And
very ranking.
Well, even before they receive submissions.
Sure.
Because if you're not marketing the journal,
I know,
people don't even know it exists.
And you know, submissions are so important. And authors only want to submit to the big guys, right? Yes. And what happens, what they don't understand is that the big guys only have 3% acceptance rate. You know, journals starting out, yes, they want quality, yes, but they are more willing to work with you to help you produce a quality manuscript. So, and all this, if you want to actually start a journal from nothing
from scratch,
to
yes.
something, you know, to be honest with you, from 6 months for real before you can even receive a submission in some cases, 2 years or 3
Or longer.
years
Yes. Yeah.
before you are able to even qualify for an international indexing.
Yep.
It's serious, yeah. And I work with journals all over the world, and one in particular,
Who can't be named.
right? Yes, one in particular. For several years, the journal was sort of stagnant, right? And then new management came in, and the new management gave foundation, gave order, right? Gave a new way of doing business. And that journal went from being just a basic lower level index journal to being one of the higher indexed Scopus one of the higher level Scopus index journals.
Very impressive.
Sure, yeah. And this story has happened numerous times in different countries. Yeah.
Very good. David, thank you so much for your
sure.
time today. I think that's an inspiration for the university to look at creating a journal, but also understanding that it's not an overnight process. You have people behind the scenes marketing, you have people reviewing, you have copywriters, you have to have people willing to reach out and work with authors, and you need to let authors know that there's a journal where they can actually lodge submissions.
Right.
So again, thank you so much
Sure.
for your time. A
Thank
pleasure. Thank you.